All right. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Our Life Beginnings and Always Baxter's Route. We just have one more scene, one more moment left to do until summer ends. I did just run through boating real fast, just to double check and make sure there wasn't anything new. Beyond introducing Baxter as our boyfriend to Lee, there wasn't really anything else going on there, so I figured we could just skip it. Listen, hey, if you're dating Baxter, you can introduce him as your boyfriend. But I am excited to see what planning is about because I don't know what this symbol is. So the very first time that I saw it, I had no idea, but after that, I was like, maybe it's a chocolate fountain or a fondue fountain? I have no idea. I'm excited to see it, and listen, that's all that we need to say. Let's hop on in. You cozily laid across your bed, lightly dozing, in the morning sun. You heard birds singing outside your window and the occasional rush of the wind, but what you were really listening for was your phone. Any minute now. It was a little while later when your ringtone cut through the silent bubble of your daydreams. You eagerly sat up and plucked the phone off of the blanket by your side. Hey. A forced, deep voice on the other end answered you with an almost threatening edge to their tone. Okay?
Hey!
Hold on, let me put on a forced, deep voice. Kit, do you know who this is? I am on my way to your house. You better be prepared. The situation normally would have been worrying if you hadn't been expecting to hear from your goofiest friend, Terry, or if caller ID hadn't been invented yet. The two of you had important matters to discuss. Ooh, that's why she was coming over today. Play along, absolutely. I do, and I'm ready for your arrival. Good. Should I still deep voice? Very good. I'm not good at deep voices. Now this is a crucial matter of security. Is there anyone else in the room right now who might overhear this conversation? We are too close to the finish line to get our cover blown now. Glancing side to side, you observe your surroundings and cupped a hand close to the side of your mouth for added secrecy. No, I'm alone. Our mission is still intact. I knew I could count on my trusty cohort. I'm equipped with the fortitude to guard any classified information. You can trust me completely. Terry momentarily lost her serious tone and laughed. You could hear the smile in her voice. That I can. Just to be certain, you went towards your bedroom door and poked your head out. You couldn't hear a peep from anywhere, so you plopped back down onto your bed. Yep, I can verify that we're all clear. Anyone that's trying to learn our secrets has failed in their mission.
Very nifty.
Excellent. All according to plan. It wasn't hard to understand why Terry was so invested. Tomorrow was Miranda's 19th birthday. Ooh. I'm excited to see another Miranda birthday. Okay. And the entire occasion needed to be perfect. Usually the Eckerts hosted a party for their kids, but this year was different. Miranda had no clue that you, Terry, and Cove were putting the whole shebang together. The pressure was getting intense. There was less than 24 hours before showtime. Miranda's friends and family were counting on the three of you. Oh, yikes. If friends and family are coming? I thought maybe it was just going to be like the four of us. That is, intense. Terry dropped her game completely and got to the point. Since you can't drive and I don't have my own ride, do you think your moms would let me borrow their car? My dad can't take us around all day. I don't know.
Oh.
Yikes. The strain in Terry's voice wiped your smile away. This wasn't originally a problem. Cove was supposed to be the driver, but his request for time off of work only allowed tomorrow, or the actual birthday. So you could rely on him to help decorate, but you and Terry were on your own today. We gotta figure out how to get to an actual party supply store. Yeah. It seems we've reached the first crisis point. It was fast. I mean, I have a neighbor. We could probably borrow his car. We really shouldn't have put this off until last minute, but if there's a will, there's a way. That's the spirit. There must be something we can do. There has to be. I want to find something new, something fresh and cool. But what? Terry, I'm not sure what you're even envisioning. What's fresh and cool? I know. Her party should have a theme. We can make all the food and decorations match. It will look nice. What kind of theme? Cove had a themed party once. What kind of theme? Still working that detail out. That's fine. We have a little wiggle room left on the clock.
Yeah!
Exactly. Now that we have a direction, we'll put our noggins together and figure out the perfect theme. And then we need to get all the stuff for it and put it together in the party room. Your mouth pressed into a hard line. Having a theme wasn't exactly progress. It was just another thing you needed to get done on top of everything else. You kept that train of thought to yourself and chuckled. This event was going to be a Herculean feat, but you had faith in your friends, and together you'd find a way to make it all work somehow.
So?
Oh, and don't forget that there's a small problem of how we're even getting to the store. That's non-negotiable. We have to go today. This needs to be huge. Miranda's parties used to be so big. She always had the best birthday, at least before. Yeah. There was no way you could forget Miranda's birthday bashes throughout the years. They were a highlight of your summers. Though, you had no idea that Terry had been attending them for just as long. You never knew who she was until high school, and it was strange to think that you were so close to meeting so much earlier. And now you were all buddies. Unfortunately, the past couple of years, things have been too difficult for an event on that scale. Everyone was older and 10 times busier during the summer. Terry groaned, understandably getting worked up over that struggle. Miranda doesn't even want any presents. All she asked for was her friends and family to get together. We already have the perfect party room booked. That was supposed to be the hardest part. Everyone from Miranda's parents to you and your friends pooled your money together to rent out an actual event space instead of having it at her house or the public park. For a while now, Miranda had been insisting that she didn't need anything, but none of you could pass up an opportunity to show her how much you all appreciated her. It isn't even because she used to have big parties, you know? Even if that never happened before, this has to be as good as it can be. Terry's mumbling grew increasingly more upset. She didn't hide any ounce of her worry. What if this is the last time we can celebrate it together? It was true. People were going to be leaving soon, and that included you. You knew Terry wasn't trying to be mean or point any fingers, but you still felt that weight poignantly. Who knew what any of your lives would look like a year from now? Terry sniffled, her voice cracking with emotion. You couldn't do anything other than helplessly wait at the other end of the call. We need this to be our final big hurrah, just in case it is. You knew everything would be fine. The future may have seemed scary and uncertain, but it could get better rather than worse. Okay. Well, Terry sniffled and her tone quickly regained her usual fire.
I'm on it.
My dad is about to drive me over, so I have the whole car ride to think about our dilemma. You put your brain to work too, and we'll have this solved no sweat. Wait, Baxter? Baxter? Oh my god, Baxter. Wait. Baxter has a car? Ah, that's right. I can't believe I didn't remember he has a car.
Woo!
You're a genius, Kit. Thank you. Very much. But do you think he would actually give us a lift? Yeah. He'd be thrilled. Even though you couldn't see Terry, you could easily imagine the way she was nodding over this new possibility.
See you later.
That is the way. Alright, I gotta go. See you soon. The fate of Randy's birthday is up to you, me, and now, our remaining hope, the Bee-Man. Bye. You hung up the phone and left it face down on the blanket. You flopped across the bed as your thoughts wandered. You kicked your feet, eager with growing excitement. Miranda was going to have a birthday that she'd never forget in a million years. While you waited, you opened half a dozen tabs online on your phone and scrolled through various images of party decorations. You kept perusing until a text notification popped up. Hello? I'm here! The doorbell rang as your feet hit the floor. If you text, you don't need to ring the doorbell. You hurried downstairs and opened the front door.
Hi.
I can't believe it! It's you! Hey buddy, the party committee meeting is officially in session. Sliding aside, you gestured for Terry to come on in. She strolled inside and went towards the living room. Then Terry pivoted on her heel and folded her arms. All business. So, I haven't messaged Baxter about all this. We should ask him in person instead of a wall of text. It'd be super rude to hit up someone you barely know to do you a big favor, you know? It's gotta be face to face that we beg for help. Fingers crossed he's home. We owe it to ourselves and Randy's birthday to try. Yeah, and if he's not there, we can still try something else. This is a start.
Okay.
There's no better time than the present. Let's go. Terry nodded towards the door she just came in through, and you both promptly left the house. Together, you made a beeline for Baxter's condo and rang the doorbell. Terry gave the front door a knock, for good measure. Now the question is, what time is it in game? Is it morning or is it afternoon? She wasn't taking a single risk that you might miss him by accident. As she declared, Terry crossed her fingers on both hands. Okay. The door opened a crack. Baxter curiously peeked out and then swung it open the rest of the way. He smirked. Well, isn't this a familiar sight? Last time the pair of you came, it was for my number. I wonder what today's mission could be.
Yeah!
Oh my god, you're here! Terry loosened her bent fingers and threw her hands victoriously into the air. Amused, Baxter rubbed the back of his neck. I didn't realize I was missing, but yes, I'm here. I was simply getting ready to go out for the day. You turned your head away and tried to hide your smile. Of course, it was only now that he was making a move to go anywhere. Had to be at least noon before he'd do anything out of the house. Though, even if I wasn't home, you're welcome to call me. It's not my intent to be difficult to reach. Thanks, but we wouldn't want to interrupt you if you were busy. Perish the thought. It wouldn't be an interruption, it'd be an improvement. Damn, okay. You know I'd be thrilled to see you anytime. Okay, go away, we just want you for your car. Baxter's words were meant for Terry, too, but his gaze was set only on you. Terry's grin widened as her eyes crinkled. You knew her well enough to tell that she was psyching herself up. Her hands settled on her hips. Can you give us a ride someplace?
It's doable.
Yes, easily. He answered without missing a beat. Terry whooped. Whooped, and Baxter brightened, pleased by her enthusiasm. May I ask where we're going? No. Baxter, my good friend, we're going to the craft and party supplies store. A party store? What's the occasion? Party? The way he perked up with genuine wonder, you could have sworn that his dark eyes were sparkling. Terry pressed a finger to her lips and winked. Shh, you can't tell anyone, but we're gonna give Miranda the best birthday of her young life. Oh, that sweetheart is having her birthday soon? Congratulations.
Yeah.
On behalf of Randy, I thank you. And on behalf of me, I thank you again for providing the transportation. We would have been stranded without you. Baxter graciously bowed his head. He picked up on the urgency and importance of what your team was asking. Now that I know what it's for, there's no way I could ever refuse. I'm honored to help.
So?
How are the preparations going? A tiny nervous laugh bubbled up in Terry's throat. She glanced at you, scratching the side of her cheek. Well, we got a room booked at a place big enough to hold the party. It's a grand private event like she's never had before.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah, we just need all the food and the party stuff to go in it. I take it that you don't have caterers or decorators arranged then? No, it's just us. We are the caterers and decorators. Me and Kit, mostly, since Cove couldn't come along today. Oh, I see. Baxter idly tapped his finger against his chin. His brow pinched pensively.
Certainly.
This can be done, so there's no reason to worry. But when is the event? Tomorrow. Terry's simple, upbeat answer tore a gasp from Baxter. Bewildered, he slid a step backwards and grasped the fabric across his chest. This was easily the most dramatic reaction you'd ever witnessed from him. There was nothing you could do to stop the snort and laugh that followed. Covering your mouth, he tried twisting away from your friends, but the battle was lost. His reaction was too funny. He was too aghast to even notice. Tomorrow? It's tomorrow. And you only have a venue and 2 people? Nothing else? And it's going to be a grand affair? Baxter's mouth snapped shut following that outburst. Neither you nor Terry uttered a single word in response. The two of you shared a quick glance. Baxter took a deep, steadying breath through his nose. He slowly smoothed out the wrinkles in his shirt and exhaled. Once he was better composed, Baxter regained his usual confident air. He attempted to lightly chuckle, but you still caught the strain in his tone. You may have more problems than the lack of a vehicle, I'm afraid. Terry fidgeted her fingers out of embarrassment, but she stood strong and explained her thought process. I couldn't get the goods earlier, or Randy would have figured out what I was doing instantly. I couldn't risk it.
Sorry.
And even if I managed the impossible, she's always at my house. Not having anything to sniff out was the best way to keep everything a secret. We could have hidden the decorations at my house, you know. Yeah, maybe, but it's too late for what ifs now. As long as we stay focused, it can happen. We've just got to buy the decorations today and make the snacks and then the desserts. Then we set it all up tomorrow before things kick off at noon. No problem. Right, how hard could it be, Baxter? Come on, believe in us. You turned to him with hopeful optimism. Baxter nervously tugged at the collar of his shirt. Truthfully, I hope it's not too difficult. You must work within the circumstances you have.
In that case...
Well, since I've attended a number of functions, I'd be delighted to offer advice and assistance, today and tomorrow. I can definitely do more than simply carting you to the store. No way, you're hired. Terry cheered this upswing of good luck. Baxter's eyebrow arched quizzically, and then you could see his growing amusement stirring. Hired? Are you offering to pay me?
Nah.
But you can join our secret party planning team. That's priceless.
Very well.
His tone sounded even happier than his teasing ploy for money. There really was no payment that would have made it more worth the while. Baxter laughed and gestured towards the street. Let's discuss the details on the way. I imagine the store you have in mind isn't in town. Terry hopped towards the street and partially twisted her heel. She tilted her head and smirked. Nothing's in this little beach town. Damn, Terry! With his hand in his pockets, Baxter stepped ahead, passing you to join Terry on the road. He had a few words as he crossed your path. Oh, I would have to disagree with that. Your skin grew warmer from just that slight brush with Baxter. My car is parked a short walk that way.
Oh yeah!
Alright, team, here we go. Baxter slipped inside the condo to grab his keys. You and Terry loitered in the empty street while you waited. We totally hit the jackpot. Did you see his face when he realized this was about a party? He probably has loads of ideas. I know, he was on board the second he heard what we're doing. Things are looking up. Baxter didn't take long to return and lock up. You followed him to his car with a pep in your step, and Terry slapped her palm to the front passenger side door. I thought you were gonna hit the top. Dibs on shotgun. Yeah, I don't care. Works for me. Yes, thanks. Terry enthusiastically gave you a finger gun and then pulled the car door open. She climbed in and you plopped down in the back seat. You were glad after all that stressing. All it took to make her so happy was to sit in the front seat. Terry glanced at Baxter across the small space between them and winked.
Uh-huh.
He'll be like your I never know how to pronounce that word. Chauffeuring kit because they're a VIP. Thanks, Terry.
Yes.
Ah, yes. And where can we drive you today? Baxter buckled his seatbelt and then immediately began searching for nearby craft and party supply stores via GPS. Do you have a particular store in mind? Oh, that one. She pointed at the lower half of the screen, and Baxter wordlessly set her pick as the destination. With that settled, the rest of you got comfortable and buckled in for the ride. Despite being the new guy in the area, Baxter confidently drove, as if he'd been traveling these roads his whole life. He followed the directions laid out for him, but he also kept a part of himself focused on the task at hand. Baxter kept the conversation focused on how he could better help you and Terry with the party. He didn't hesitate to be a key member of this operation. Considering you're working pro bono, I appreciate that you're taking party planning seriously. Baxter laughed deeply. His grip tightened on the steering wheel. Is it a crime to take pride in my abilities?
No way.
Absolutely not. Keep it up. So, do we have an idea on what we're looking for? It's gonna have a theme. The party just can't be generic birthday bash. We're going for something here.
Excellent.
Having a specific design core makes it all the easier. Baxter answered with a pleased tone and peeked at the GPS. He turned the car at the intersection. And the theme is?
Nah.
Oh, we don't know. Oh. Somehow his smile remained perfectly in place. You imagine that he fully expected the lack of preparation at this point. Damn, he doesn't even believe in us.
Well.
There are many concepts one can go with. For example, it's summertime and a classic style would be nautical. Or perhaps desert chic. I almost said dessert. Yum. For California, if we wanted to take our location into account. Or, what about this? While summer is scorching on the outside, the guests are treated to a winter wonderland inside. That kind of unexpected, intentionally out-of-season aesthetic can be quite fun. Exhaling deeply, Terry leaned the side of her head against the glass and stared out the window, mulling over Baxter's suggestions. She sank her front teeth into her bottom lip. If none of those suffice, we can continue brainstorming. I don't know if any of those are right for Miranda. She doesn't care about what's trendy or seasonal or what might impress her guests.
Understandable.
Good point. This isn't some party, it's Miranda's party. Unfortunately, I only met the woman this whole affair is for once. There's not much I can glean from that, I apologize. That put him at quite a disadvantage despite his sincere intent to help. Frowning, you felt somewhat similar. Nobody knew Miranda better than Terry, and that meant she should have the final say on these big decisions. Would you rather I stop propositioning ideas? Propositioning ideas? Okay, damn, slut. Would you rather I stop proposing ideas? I'm sure whatever you think she'll enjoy most will be wonderful. No, I need so much help. I don't even know what party themes are. How am I gonna pick one? Okay, then should I keep throwing out ideas until something sounds good to your ears?
Yeah!
There's gotta be a theme that's perfect for her. I'll know it when I hear it. Very well. You could practically hear the gears moving in Baxter's brain. His expression scrunched up and it was clear that he was silently compiling a list. Oh, wait, what can you tell me about the venue? The colors, the size, the style. We can use that as a base to work off of. It would be pointless to fall in love with a concept and then realize it would clash with the room.
Sure!
Smart. I found the perfect place. It's pretty big. Imagine a space that's larger than the average living room. It's like 3 living rooms. She's got lots of family and plenty of friends coming, so we need it. There's also a lit up dance floor in the center too. Damn, okay. A dance floor? You shut your face. His eyes sparkled with excitement. Can you imagine the dance floor would be just as bright tomorrow? Will the event have any slow dancing? Who slow dances at a birthday party? It's not a prom. Baxter's shoulders slumped in response, while Terry's surprised laugh morphed into a small coughing fit. He sighed deeply. That's true. If only someone was getting married instead. It's always formal dancing at weddings. It's a shame that as an adult, the only appropriate occasion to dance with a partner, besides at practice and competitions, is such an uncommon event.
But
Of course, this is outside of having your own actual partner, who you can go dancing with whenever you'd like. Your head tilted. Was that a hint? The two of you were dating. Did he want to go dancing with you? Or maybe there wasn't any intent behind his general statement. I can't dance. I don't necessarily want to say I have no rhythm, I just don't know what to do. Next time there's a wedding, you're the first person I'm calling. Baxter laughed earnestly. His attention flickered up to the mirror for a moment. You're so considerate, Kit. Please, I'm counting on you to do that when the situation arises. I'm not gonna say either one of those, just smile. His love of dance wasn't a secret, but it was sweet to be reminded how happy the idea of a formal dance made him. But Baxter shook his head, ridding himself of his indulgent thoughts. His attention flickered to the map. Regardless, it wouldn't matter either way in this case. I apologize for getting us off track. How else would you describe the venue?
Very nifty.
It's shiny, and it's pretty, and it's pink. Oh my god, yay! It does give a strong picture of what the presentation could be. It's limiting, but in a helpful way. How so?
I see.
The most obvious direction would be to make the entire theme simply pink. Terry snorted and tried to suppress her giggles, but she was instantly unsuccessful. Randy does like that color, but she doesn't feel the same way about it as you do with black and white. Now it was Baxter's turn to chuckle. That's fair. So, moving on, we have pretty and sparkly. What else? Is Miranda a fan of glitz and glamour?
Nope.
Well, basically no. Terry's brow furrowed and she slowly deflated in her seat. Randy wouldn't like trying to be glamorous. That's not how she is, and she wouldn't know how to act like that if that's what the theme was. Is that so? Then what about a faux high life theme? And what would that be? You sat forward, wondering what either of those two words were supposed to mean in terms of decorating a party. Faux? Let me think of the best way to articulate the premise. Imagine plastic champagne glasses filled with sparkling cider. Ooh, cider. And dainty desserts coated in shimmering dust so they shine. A chocolate fountain. Well, okay, this sounds like what we're going with because, like I said, the picture looked like it was a chocolate fountain, so. A chocolate fountain with fresh strawberries to dip and colored lights. Perhaps even feather boas for the guests to wear. The idea is that nothing is truly extravagant. It's tongue-in-cheek, but with all the celebratory fun of acting like a star on your special day. Not being that kind of person would be part of the point. Cute and silly, basically. Terry sprung up in her seat, vibrating with excitement. She turned to you, but she was still rendered speechless from Baxter's proposition.
What do you think?
Did I strike a chord? That would be so fun! Randy loves to let loose and not be so serious, but she's definitely a star. Sounds as though we have a theme then.
Finally!
Yeah, it's all gonna come together now.
That's wonderful.
And we accomplished it without having to leave the car. Yippee! You applauded him. Leaning against your seat, you began clapping proudly. Terry followed your lead. Thank you very much. I'm honestly glad I could help. The rest of the drive kept the secret party planning ball rolling. You listened closely while Terry and Baxter took turns offering suggestions for what you needed to track down at the store. Oh my god. Yes. Darn. It's the first thing that I noticed. Wow. Darn. Okay. Alright. Wall stickers. Okay. When you arrived, the three of you entered the store, fully focused on the mission. Though you felt underprepared standing at the entrance and scanning the cluttered store in front of you. Shelves were piled with miscellaneous goods, and there was a strong smell wafting in the air. It was like a mix of paint and a scented something. Maybe a pine cone? Curling your fingers into fists, you steeled yourself for the task. It was going to be way too easy to get lost with the endless sea of bits and bobs calling out to you. The secret party planning team couldn't fail now.
Woo!
Come on, there's no time to waste. Terry took the lead, claiming a shopping cart and picking a direction. She pushed on ahead while you followed at Baxter's pace. It wasn't long before she was combing through the piles of knickknacks. Her fiery determination to make this birthday the best it could be was admirable, and you were resolved to match it. Your group traveled down several aisles, picking up a variety of supplies that had been decided on during the drive. The right-shaped cups, plastic forks and spoons that resembled proper silverware, and the rest of the basics. You picked out some shiny tablecloths to replace the old checkered ones, and Terry found a few platters to serve the desserts on. Next on the agenda was to locate what you need to prepare the desserts. In a craft store? I guess like the shiny, glimmery whatever. But before any of you could do that, Terry stopped in her tracks and pointed. Look! Craning your head, you scanned the area until you landed on what she was seeing. There, in the distance, were dozens of feather boas hanging over a row of long hooks. They were fluffy and came in several bright saturated colors. Grinning wide, Terry raced to the display and flung a ton of them into the cart. It was anyone's guess how many would be needed for tomorrow, and since they were only a couple dollars each, Terry was sticking with the old tried-and-true method of better safe than sorry. Eventually, her looting uncovered a single pure white boa. Yeah, absolutely, Baxter needs that one. You grabbed it, mindful not to crush the delicate feathers. They were soft against your skin, while you examined them for any hidden splotches of color. Luckily, the feathers were immaculate, So you added the boa to the growing pile in the cart. It soon became lost in the sea of rainbow. Once Terry was satisfied, she stared at the cart. Everything that you'd selected before was buried under a pile of boas, and there was a lot more shopping to do. Maybe we should get a second cart.
I can do that.
You two can go to the cake decorating aisle, and I'll meet you there.
Thanks.
B-Man. Baxter hurried to the end of the aisle and paused there, glancing back. Terry sent him off with a playful salute, and he answered with a wave. Don't get lost. We'll miss you. I'll try my best. After that, you and Terry ended up getting a bit turned around, but at long last you found the aisle with the cake decorating supplies. Terry drove the cart back and forth, anxiously scanning the selection.
So?
Like, what desserts are we gonna have? There should be a cake, but that can't be all, right? What about cupcakes? Randy loves cupcakes. She does. We gotta make a whole bunch now. Yeah. Terry mumbled contemplatively to herself, leaning against the carriage. She nodded once, then again. I'll try it. No, I must do it. Hold on, when are you gonna have time to make 2 desserts? Tonight after all the shopping, or tomorrow when the entire room needs to be decorated? I can squeeze it in somewhere. I don't think so. They'll never get done. You make the cake, and I'll take care of the cupcakes.
Really?
Oh, thanks, buddy. Terry dabbed an invisible tear from her eye and then placed a hand across her heart. No one could ask for a more loyal cohort. I am glad to do it. Also, you don't need to do it all by yourself, but... Terry hooked an arm around your shoulders. She pulled you into a side hug and squeezed.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Alright, so I've been thinking about making a confetti cake with vanilla frosting. Could you make chocolate cupcakes with cheesecake frosting? And make them look all pretty, too. I got it. You added a thumbs up, and Terry excitedly pumped her fist.
Hell yeah!
This is gonna be a great party. With renewed enthusiasm, Terry picked out a couple containers of gold and silver shimmer dust for the treats, and a packet of edible jewels and decorative stars. Terry reached up and snagged a big 19-shaped candle to go on top of the cake. Her arms were rapidly getting full, and then, just in time...
Hello.
There you are. I've been searching for you two. He wheeled the new cart over, but it wasn't empty. Okay. Sitting comfortably inside was a boxed chocolate fountain, a pack of wooden skewers, and a big bag of melting chocolate wafers to be used with it. You're so serious about the chocolate fountain. Ooh. Terry leaned into the cart and examined the advertised features printed on the box. Some of the packet she was holding onto fell from her grasp and tumbled in with a clang. This is a good brand. It's not too loud. The music should cover the noise it does make, though.
Sure.
Works for me. Terry released the remaining things she was carrying into the carriage. They rained onto the unsuspecting fountain. You placed what you had inside next. Baxter studied everything you'd picked out while he was gone.
You're good.
You have excellent taste. Those decorations are fantastic. Thanks. My cupcakes are gonna be almost too nice to eat. A feast for the eyes, then. Yeah, we got this in the bag. As you passed through more parts of the store, the three of you grabbed a few other last-minute odds and ends. Somewhere along the way, Terry found a sash that said "Birthday Girl." She eagerly snatched it up and threw it across the pile of feather boas. You pointed out some oversized sunglasses next. Oh, good catch.
Very nifty.
Those totally fit the vibe. Nodding, you tossed a handful into the cart. From there, your team circled the premises for a little while before deciding to check out and get your haul home. The register area you discovered wasn't built anything like the one at the supermarket. There wasn't a long conveyor belt to put stuff on, only a short, counter space.
I apologize.
This will be one moment. You flash the cashier an apologetic smile, and you got to work piling up the dozens of party supplies from 2 full carts. Not one piece was particularly pricey, but with the amount of stuff you gathered, the total was skyrocketing. Even with all the contributions from friends and family as a combination gift, it was going to be a close call. Terry's lip twitched as she tried not to frown. The displayed price grew higher, and there was still a mountain of things on the counter. Baxter stared at Terry, and his brow furrowed. Then he reached over and plucked away the chocolate fountain box, the skewers, and the packet of chocolate.
No.
But I want that. Don't worry about it. I'm going to buy this part myself. But it's not a necessary supply that you were anticipating you'd buy, and it was my bright idea on top of everything. I'll cover it. My treat. Or rather, my gift for Miranda's birthday. I can't say no to that. Thank you so much. He gave her a pleased nod and then went to the end of the line, carrying the box under his arm. Baxter managed to get through the line, stop at a different register, and complete his purchase well before you and Terry were through. He waited awkwardly off to the side of the checkout area with his bag. After the poor cashier dug themselves out of a pile of sparkly and feathered goods, you caught up to him with the 2 carts neatly packed with bags. Hey, is all of this gonna fit in your car? As you were leaving, a voice-over announced that the store would be open for only another 30 minutes. Terry glanced at the overhead speaker in shock.
Oh.
I knew we were here a while, but not that long.
It's settled.
I'd say this was a successful trip. This was a massive success. Yeah, it was worth it. Your party planning committee exited the store and made your way through the parking lot. Together, you had to fill the trunk and part of the back seat. We'll take the carts back. Yeah, we've got it. I'll stay put here then. Baxter leaned against the car door as you rolled away. The sky was dark, and the night air felt invigorating after being in the stuffy, overly scented store. There was an added pep in your step now that you weren't weighed down by party supplies. Terry shot you a mischievous grin and then raced past you across the pavement. You pushed the cart faster before jumping on the back and riding it. I didn't even read the rest of it. Leaning forward, you made sure to keep yourself balanced on the empty cart. Your smile grew, feeling a cool breeze against your skin. Then you returned to the car together. Baxter stood up and smoothed his shirt before opening his door. Welcome back. Did you see that? You squeezed into the car and let yourselves feast on the fruits of the afternoon's labors. Terry hopped into the front again. Terry fished her phone out and messaged her parents that she was ready for them to pick her up. She explained that if they left now, then her mom and dad would be at your house by the time the 3 of you returned. After that, you simply needed to enjoy a comfortably quiet ride to the neighborhood. All that shopping ended up being more exhausting than any you anticipated. After a brief and uneventful drive through sleepy streets, you arrived home to find a van parked outside. Terry, are you gonna get kidnapped? As you approached, you recognized the shade of green paint and that characteristic dent in the rear fender. Terry leaned out of the window and hollered cheerily. Alright, you made it! Yes! Away from the driver's side window, it was Terry's parents, come to pick her up. As planned. This is great, we can take most of the stuff home in the van. Terry jerked a thumb towards the piles of party paraphernalia. Is that spelled correctly? Don't care. Perched precariously in the back of the car.
Woo!
I figure it can stay there until tomorrow. My old folks said we could borrow the van to take everything to the party venue anyway. It's like we planned it or something. Baxter silently nodded, pulling up alongside Terry's parents.
Is that fine?
Well, since we're transferring the supplies from one vehicle to another, we might as well minimize the distance. Terry, would you mind? He gestured towards the rear of the van. Terry nodded and hopped out to let her mom know it was safe to pop the trunk. While you left your seat, Baxter opened up his own car, then gave Terry's mom and dad a friendly wave. Thus began the daunting task of unloading. Terry's parents noticed how much stuff you'd ended up bringing back, and soon they were also lending a hand. With all 5 of you, the seemingly endless stack of party goods was defeated in a few short minutes. I think that's the last of it. Many hands truly do make light work. You let out a sigh of relief, stretching your arms. They'd gotten sore from all the heavy lifting in spite of the help. Bow down before the awesome and terrible power of teamwork. Terry wasn't even remotely out of breath. She could do the whole thing over again without breaking a sweat. You counted yourself lucky she didn't threaten to do just that. Her sense of humor could be wild sometimes. Baxter leaned against the closed rear door of the van, casually addressing Terry and her parents. Are you fine people heading home now? Getting late. A trio of assenting noises followed.
Yeah!
We've got everything for tomorrow. Oh, hold on a sec. She marched over to where you stood and planted her feet on the sidewalk with intent. She stood to attention as though suddenly in the middle of a military parade. You could see she had an object clutched in her right hand, though it was difficult to make out in the dusk. She must have taken it out of one of the shopping bags from earlier. As soon as I get home, the next stage of our mission commences. Don't worry about me, though. It'll be... Here it comes. A piece of cake. She lifted one of your hands and dropped the held item into it. 3 shimmering cylinders of confectionery glitter. Of course, there was still work to be done tonight. Baking. You were raring to go. You clutched the little plastic tubes of glitter tightly, giving Terry an enthusiastic mock salute. Aye, aye, Captain. Good luck. See you tomorrow.
See you later.
I'll swing by to pick you guys up at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Ooh, I don't know about that. Party starts at noon and we're gonna need all the time we can get. With a skip and a jump, Terry was already clambering into her parents' van. She waved enthusiastically as the sliding door closed. After retreating a safe distance, you and Baxter watched the van pull out and head up the street. It was surprising it could move anymore with all that extra weight. The glow of the headlights grew distant and then faded into night like a late summer dream. Suddenly, you thought again about how fragile and fleeting your time in Sunset Bird was, and how the last season with your friends would vanish, never to return. You had to make this party a success. You knew it in your bones. For Miranda, for Terry, for Cove, too, and for everyone else in attendance. For yourself. This party would be a celebration of Miranda, yes, but it would also be a celebration of your friendship, and of each other. A brief instant of clarity before all things became uncertain. You had to make it count. It was all quiet for a pause, then Baxter spoke. I understand that there's one more job left to take care of then. He nodded down at the clear containers you were still clutching in your hand. Yeah, still gotta take care of some stuff. I'll get some sleep. Eventually.
To be honest,
I can't say I'm surprised you aren't finished. The tall order arranging an event on short notice. Not that I'm criticizing your attempt in the slightest. It's honestly admirable to see the commitment. But I'm getting off topic. What's next on the agenda? You explained to Baxter the situation with the party food. You'd volunteered to make chocolate cupcakes with cream cheese frosting, while Terry would do the real birthday cake. It was a relatively simple order, at least. No last-minute meringues for Miranda. She'd survive the disappointments. The edible faux metallic glitter that Terry handed you was to be the final layer of decoration, a touch of pizzazz that would transform the basic cupcakes into something more to theme. Baxter touched a hand to his mouth and nodded in agreement as you explained. Of course, a pleasing appearance is hardly the most critical factor. A poorly baked dessert would still taste bad, no matter how it looked. But flair can help elevate a thing beyond itself. I suppose you could say it's the icing on the cake. You can't hang out with Terry anymore. I need to get you guys away from each other. Baxter coughed quietly into his fist, as though to muffle a laugh. Terry had been rubbing off on him, clearly. Regardless, that sounds to be a marvelous idea, though slightly less marvelous given how tight the schedule is. It's getting late. There was no denying that. His thoughtful expression was obscured by the darkness around the both of you. Here is what I suggest. Why don't you come over to my house to do it? I can give you a hand with the preparation if you think I'll be of any use. For how often and how readily Baxter always offered his services, you shouldn't have been taken aback by this latest gesture. And yet, you still found yourself wondering, why? Baxter had clearly anticipated your reaction, cutting off the question before you could ask it. He made a gesture as if he was looking at his wristwatch, though of course he didn't wear one. It's nearly 10 p.m. Your family won't exactly thank you for baking this late at night. The noise is one thing, the smell will be another matter. And besides, your fridge might not have enough free space. Leaving the cakes out all night might spoil them. The fridge in my condo is, well, there's plenty of room. You need to get grocery shopping, Baxter. What do you have in there? Takeout containers? Ooh, Chinese food in a box. Baxter's diction had gained a faint quavering edge, like he was skirting around a nervous giggle. It's empty, in fact. I have a conveniently empty fridge in a conveniently empty house.
Perfect.
Wouldn't you say? When he put it in those terms, it made total sense. Baxter sure did have a lot of foresight when it came to these things. It was impressive he always thought that far ahead. You agreed it was an opportune set of circumstances, but as he talked about how empty his temporary home was, it struck you that Baxter sounded a little sad. It must be quiet, all alone in that house. Maybe that was why he was always so willing to come spend time with you, or the other people he knew around here. Alright, so long as you promise not to sneak a bite of any of the cupcakes before tomorrow. I wouldn't dream of it. Scout's honor. You couldn't think of anyone on Earth less likely to have been a Boy Scout than Baxter, but you reasoned that Scout's honor was a universal sort of concept, like the 5-second rule. Then you're in. Baxter clapped his hands together. He fully committed himself to the cause and was ready to put a plan in motion. Excellent. Let's get cooking, shall we?
Very well.
You'll have to retrieve ingredients from your house since I don't have anything myself. The kitchen is fully outfitted, however, so you needn't bring any equipment. If you want to take care of things... Chestoy? I don't know what that means. Okay. I can begin prepping the utensils and such. I'll leave the front door unlocked, so feel free to just let yourself in when you're ready. Sure. And so, you briefly split up. Baxter walked briskly to his rented condo, while you made your way speedily home. The night was still young, sort of. And so were you. What was a little harmless sleep deprivation between friends? What kind of person even got tired at 10 p.m. anyway? Not you, that was for sure. When you came in, you spied your mom sitting around the living room. They were huddled up on one of the couches, luxuriating in one another's company after a day's work. Ma's head rested on her wife's shoulder, while Mom brushed fingers lightly through her hair. It could have been a famous sculpture or painting sitting there. It was hard to witness your parents like that sometimes, Not because it was embarrassing, though some people might have seen it that way. Your moms were a thing of tremendous gravity in your life. You were a fledgling they had fed and clothed and cleaned up after and loved for years and years, and soon you would be taking flight. You'd be gone. Maybe that was why you found yourself glancing down at the hardwood floor at the sight of your moms. It was a lot to take in at 10 p.m., to be honest. But the sound of the front door alerted them both to your presence. The two halves of that piece of art moved in alignment and turned. Welcome back, sweetie. Nice of you to drop by, Kit. Will you be staying with us long? Classic mom joke. You babbled out the whole Terry's organizing a last-minute party for Randy, don't tell anyone, been out all day, and by the way, I need to make cupcakes tonight situation. Not to mention the I'm going over to Baxter's house, do we have any ingredients I can use situation. There was a lot of situation to cover.
That's fantastic.
That's absolutely wonderful, Kit. I'm sure Miranda will be delighted. You're all working so hard. It's getting late, though, and you've been going for most of the day. Ma was eyeing the wall clock and gave you a playful pout. Are you sure you don't want to call it a night and let your mom and me handle the baking? You shook your head, declining the offer. Miranda was your friend, and you'd given Terry your word that you'd take care of it. Besides, it wasn't as if your moms hadn't also worked today. Ma's tiny frown deepened, so disappointed to not be allowed to baby you. But it was all in good humor.
Fine.
We won't push it, so long as you're sure Baxter's okay with you wreaking havoc in his immaculate kitchen. Ma let out an unbridled snort. He's a teenager living on his own, Pam. How immaculate could that kitchen be? You opened your mouth to defend Baxter and all other teenagers, before realizing that it hardly counted if the only reason he had a clean kitchen was that he never used it in the first place. If his tone earlier was anything to go by, he'd probably even thank you for making a mess. It might brighten up the place. You didn't say any of this to your moms, though. You made it clear to them that Baxter had assured you it was A-okay. It was his idea to begin with, after all. He'd been insistent on helping, like certain other people you could mention. This mollified your parents. Though they teased, they were acting entirely out of consideration for your temporary neighbor. Too bad Baxter Ward had out-considered them already.
I understand.
You'll handle it like the grown-ups you are. At least let us help you gather the ingredients together before you go. Pam, do you think you could get the... Please make the joke I think you're about to.
Sure thing.
They didn't. Already on it. To be fair, I don't think that they would drop a name brand for cooking spray in this game, you know? But, oh my god, can you imagine? Pam, can you go get the Pam? So good. Mom had headed over towards the kitchen and began pulling things out of cupboards. Your mom and I actually have some leftover boxes of chocolate cake mix from... I forgot what it was for now, but you're welcome to take it all, honey. That should save you some time. The frosting will have to be made fresh, but I always find that's the easiest part. I mean, so's just making chocolate cake, but okay. Oh, and we also have... Mom's arm shot out from behind the fridge door, clutching a large tub of cream cheese. She placed it next to a row of bright red boxes of cake mix and half a dozen eggs on the counter. You should take some extra muffin tins too, just in case. If Baxter's oven is big enough, you can bake multiple batches at once instead of doing it in stages. You might not need it, but being prepared never hurt anybody. Here, Mom paused, a thoughtful look on her face. Unless you were making a plan to, say, assassinate someone, then your preparations would be designed to... Pamela, the muffin tins. Right, muffin tins. We have 2 you can take along, cupcake liners too. While they were meant to only help, your moms did all the work of getting the supplies. And soon you found yourself ready to head on over to Baxter's condo. And this is where I'm going to end this episode for now. I don't know how much longer this moment is going to be, but I had somewhat of an epiphany between episodes recently where I have been doing moments until the end and hoping that that adds up to an hour, when I could just be playing an hour of the game, you know, and then just, oh, we're in the middle of a moment, we'll continue on next time. Does that make sense? It doesn't really matter so much, you know, right now in the game, because so far all of the moments in this step 3 have been 2 hours long, and so they, you know, split themselves easily. And, you know, we're almost at the end of the game. We have this, and then we have the step 4 epilogue, and that's it. But it was just a sudden thought that I had, and we are at that hour, so I do need to end this eventually. But I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. I hope that you are excited for Miranda's party. I'm excited to see it all together. I think that Baxter has a sprite in that white boa that I got for him, but I'm not 100% sure. If not, he should have some fan art, let me just tell you. And I personally am excited to see that, but I'm gonna go for now. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next episode for some more Our Life, Beginnings and Always, Baxter's Route.